High Res happened this past weekend, and it was a large, pretty high-tier regional that happened in New York. Many of the big names of New York, like Zomba and the ex-King of New York DeBuzz, who moved away from New York if you didn't know. But High Res also drew a lot of out-of-region threats who all came to New York in the hopes of conquering this tournament. But who ended up winning it all? It's probably not who you'd assume. Let's get right into it. Real quick before we start, reminder that if you'd like to support me, you can support my Patreon or become a member of my YouTube channel for as low as just 99 cents a month. If you'd like to support me in that way, link to both my Patreon and membership page is in the description. Thank you. Now let's get started. Let's start off with Losers Eighths. In case you haven't heard, I'm trying out a few new format changes throughout some of these videos, so we're actually going to keep the finishers anonymous for now. We'll be going over the Losers Eighths matches, starting with Guy versus Geist. Guy is a Luigi main that even if you've never seen play, you've still probably heard of before, thanks to Guy's fans singing his praises wherever he goes. Guy made it into Losers Eighths by sweeping pools, notably defeating Justin Byleth, hi Justin, on the way into top 32. And since Hayes DQ'd in top 32, this meant that Guy went up in winner's quarters against Louis Money, who he lost against 3-0.
To just dash attack, and now you stuck at the ledge.
No.
You're getting down tilted, and he got no double jump. That's going to be Louis Money coming out on top.
From here, Guy made top 8 by winning a close Game 5 set with Web JP. Guy did all of this as the 17th seed, by the way. Geist, on the other hand, came into the event as the 11th seed, starting off their weekend by getting through pools, only dropping one game to Web JP, who we just mentioned, funnily enough.
But how did he avoid that down air?
Web is different. Oh, that's it, though.
Yeah.
Rapid Jab gonna take it. Geist winning it 2-1.
Here, right out of pools, Geist lost to Quid 3-1, dropping down to losers and starting a great losers run, starting with a 3-0 over Samsora, one of the big upsets in Geist's run, as, remember, Geist was the 11th seed and Samsora the 3rd, though many would argue that Samsora was overseeded coming into the event anyways. Either way, Geist eliminated the 3rd seed before top 16 even started, moving on and defeating both Mega 3-0 and impressively Tilde 3-0, another upset as Tilde was the 5th seed coming into the event. It was now time for Geist and Guy to battle it out in Losers Eighths to see who would be able to move on in bracket. Now is probably a good time to mention that both sets of Losers Eighths wasn't streamed. But not to worry. Losers Eighths are the only top 8 sets that didn't end up being streamed. Everything else was. This does mean, though, that our 7th place finishers kinda get screwed over here in terms of having clips or montages in this video. Geist would end up defeating Guy in a 3-1, with Guy being eliminated at 7th and Geist moving on. Pivoting over to our other Losers 8th set, we have Smirk versus Zomba. And yes, Zomba was in Losers already. We'll cover it. Instead, you might be surprised to hear Smirk here within this top 8. If, like me, you didn't know who Smirk was going into this tourney, let me introduce him for you. Smirk is a Ken player who came into the event as the 26th seed and made waves with their run at High Res this past weekend. Smirk started off the weekend by defeating Billy Big Balls, no doubt a distant relative of Bobby Big Balls, in their first set of pools, before then impressively 2-0ing both Amaryllis, a notable Bayo player, and Samsora. This upset against Samsora, the 26th seed beating the 3rd, 2nd seed if you count Light DQing as removing him from the seeding, was Smirk's first and most impressive upset of the tournament, numbers-wise. Smirk wasn't done winning though, as Smirk then defeated Yeast 3-0 in top 32, moving up into winner's quarters, where Smirk went up against Leon. Now, normally, I wouldn't highlight a set with a montage this early on in the video, but in the case of Smirk versus Leon, I have to make an exception. In the end, Leon beat Smirk in Game 5, sending Smirk down into losers where he defeated Elam 3-1. Quick side note, Elam actually made an insane run this past weekend, making it to 9th place as not only the 35th seed, but as a Villager player as well. One of the best performances we've seen from a Villager not named Kept in a hot minute. Smirk had made it into top 8, where he then went up against Zomba in losers 8ths. Zomba, on the other hand, had a rough start to the weekend, seemingly starting off well, but then losing in an upset loss to C, a Palutena player, in a 2-1 loss.
Super careful about how he lands right now. Tried to go for the down smash. Mashing out very good stuff. And then the F smash, that could be it. That's it. C takes it game 3 over Zomba.
C is another player who went on a good run, getting 17th as the 31st seed and defeating Waidu and Zomba on the way. Zomba, now in losers, started off by defeating notable Duck Hunt main Fawn 2-0 before having a close Game 5 set with John Numbers, who I think may actually be the best Wii Fit in the world if only he traveled more often. Get this man a ticket. I don't even care to wear. From here, Zomba went on an impressive losers run, defeating Ling 3-1, Jen 3-0, and Jackal 3-1, which means that yes, Jackal and Zomba fought for 9th at a regional, as unfortunate as that is. Zomba then went up against Smirk in losers 8ths, and since it wasn't streamed, I can go ahead and tell you that Zomba won this set 3-1, moving on in bracket and eliminating Smirk at 7th. Now we move on to our losers quarter sets that finally have VODs, wouldn't you believe it? Our 2 losers quarter sets were Zomba versus Dabuz and Geist versus Leon. Since we were just talking about Zomba, let's go over Zomba versus Dabuz first, and since we've fully covered Zomba's bracket path so far, all we've got to do is talk about Dabuz. Dabuz came into the event as the 4th seed and made it through pools and top 32 nearly flawlessly, dropping only 1 game to Tilde in winners quarters. It was here that Dabuz went up against Louis Money in winners semifinals. This set was significant in a few ways. First of all, it went to a Game 5, and secondly, this set, where Dabuz used Min Min for 2 games and Rosa for the rest, was the only time throughout the entirety of this top 8 bracket that a DLC character was used. Not just Fighters Pass 2, but DLC period. But in the end, Dabuz would lose to Louis Money in a Game 5, last hit situation, dropping down into losers quarters to fight Zomba. Unfortunately for Dabuz, he would lose to Zomba 3-1, being eliminated at 5th. A sad loss for Dabuz for sure, but you gotta keep in mind that anyone, much less any top player, having to fight Zomba for 5th is rough luck, and Dabuz has C to thank for that. Pivoting over to our other losers quarter set, we have Geist versus Leon, and since we covered Geist's bracket path already, we only have to go over Leon. Leon came into the event as the 15th seed, outplacing it by quite a bit with their guaranteed 5th place finish. Leon started off the weekend by making it through pools, only dropping 1 game to Yoda Cage on the way. Leon being half of the reason that Yoda Cage finished 33rd, despite saying that their 13th place seed was too low, proving yet again that complain about underseeding into underperforming said seed is the truest combo in Smash Bros. Well, that and taunt to get bodied. Leon, now in top 32, defeated C, Leon being helped out by the fact that he didn't have to fight Zomba, as C was the one to upset Zomba, like we just talked about.
I'd love a Game 5. I would love a Game 5. Uh-oh. You won't get it. I don't get a Game 5. Wow. I don't get a Game 5. Wow.
After that, Leon defeated Smirk 3-2, like we discussed earlier, before going up versus Quid in winners semifinals.
Thought I was gonna kill
Nice
there.
grab coming out from Leon, getting him off stage once again. Just shielding everything. I mean, Quid pulling out all the stops for these mix-ups off stage, but Leon doesn't care.
Not gonna kill just
Not
yet.
quite going to kill.
Good reversal
my
there.
goodness, Quid is just too saucy with it.
Unfortunately for Leon, he would lose to Quid 3-0, dropping down into losers to finally face off against Geist, this set being one of my personal favorites to watch. Which, by the way, I did right here on my YouTube in my high-res watch party. I'm going to be doing more of those, including one for Gommel this weekend, so be sure to watch that when it happens. But for now, we've got a set to see. Leon would defeat Geist in a Game 5, Leon moving into losers semis and Geist bowing out at 5th. Geist has been on a tremendous rise recently, contributing towards Bayonetta's growing victories and top-level reps. Now we move into losers semifinals, Leon versus Zomba. And hey, wouldn't you know it, we've fully covered both of these players' bracket paths already, so I suppose there's nothing else for me to do except start the montage. Zomba would win the set in a 3-1, moving on into losers finals and eliminating Leon at 4th. A very impressive placement from NA's best Bowser, and one of the 3 Bowser players that makes up the Bowser Triforce. Zomba moved on into losers finals, but who would he be facing? We'll get to that in just one moment, because we're going to make a quick pit stop to winners finals first. If you remember from earlier on in the video, Louis Money defeated DeBuzz 3-2, and Quid defeated Leon 3-0, meaning that the two of them would throw down in winners finals against one another. But before we get to that, let's go over their bracket path first, shall we? Starting with Louis Money came into the event as the 8th seed, starting off by making it into top 8, only dropping 2 games on the way, one to Junior Soprano and one to Dark Wizzy, who confusingly DQ'd after losing to Louis Money.
Get the fuck out of here, dog.
He said, I am going over there. Y'all want anything? And you're dead. Hit him with the hot go walk.
After this, of course, Louis Money pulled out a clutch Game 5 win against DeBuzz, moving into winners finals. Pivoting to the other side of the set, Quid started off the weekend as the 6th seed, and started the weekend by making it through pools, notably defeating Betty Bean and Vivi on the way. Quid then made it through top 32 just as easily, defeating Geist 3-1, Jackal 3-2, and Leon 3-0, with Quid's set against Jackal being particularly good.
Single hit of upbeat, any stray hit could be death, but you can also set up a wolf back air kill confirm, but you get red with the up air and are gone. What an outstanding, incredible set between Jackal and Quid.
It was finally time for winners finals. Quid versus Louis Money. In the end, Quid would win in a close Game 5 set, sending Louis Money down into losers finals to face Zomba. Louis Money would defeat Zomba in a Game 5 set that, even though it was close on paper, Louis Money made sure that the decisive Game 5 was anything but close, ending with a 3-stock spike at nearly 200%. Louis Money then went back up into Grands to throw down against Quid once more. In the end, Quid won the set 3-1, becoming your champion of high res. Both our first and second place finishers did extremely well, with Louis Money starting to develop a bit of a Skittles syndrome, that being the tendency to perform really well at regionals, but not so well at majors. That being said, I hope that we see Louis Money continue to rise further and push the boundaries of Palutena. Quid, on the other hand, won this tournament very dominantly, although Quid was taken to a decisive game 3 times, that being Quid's 2-1 against Vivi, their Game 5 win over Jackal, and winners finals against Louis Money. Quid is a name you all know from Let's Make Big Moves 2022, where Quid won that major tournament over names like Mudes and Cola, despite being the 31st seed. It's well known as perhaps the best ever SPR for a major winner in Ultimate's lifespan. However, ever since then, Quid hasn't done as well at larger tournaments, majors, or even out-of-region regionals. But here, in Quid's home state of New York, Quid showed up, defending the state dominantly and becoming the undisputed winner. Cosmos better watch his back. There may be a brand new, most volatile player in the scene for Smash Ultimate. And if anything else, High Res was an absolute treat to watch because, with the exception of DeBuzz's Min Min, we had a genuinely amazing character pool. It felt like we were right back in 2019 again, and this goes to show you that the meta is slowly but surely heading back toward fundamental top tiers from the game's early meta and drifting away from DLC. We're not quite there yet, but this game is far from dead. That's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed, please consider supporting my Patreon or becoming a member on this channel. Real quick shout out to my patrons Seth Laster and FireSkull333, as well as my YouTube members Stormtrooper, Locosoko, and Mattoon. I'm going to be going live at 2 p.m. CST today right here on the channel. Come say hi, I'd love to see you there. With that out of the way, I've been Mr. Mice, and thank you all so much for watching.